CBS News is taking a closer look at the asylum process in the U.S. On his first day in office, President Biden suspended the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy. Now, some migrants who were subjected to that rule are returning to the U.S. while their cases are presented in court. CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez spoke with one couple about how they've been impacted by the reversal.
When Diana and Lázaro reached the U.S.-Mexico border, their nightmare began.
They separated you.
Yes, they separated us. They didn't let us say goodbye. Diana, who was pregnant at the time, was granted humanitarian parole to enter the U.S. Lázaro, however, was sent back to Mexico. The separation took a heavy emotional toll on the couple, who had fled political persecution in Cuba.
So you were worried that you might lose your baby because of the stress, because of the separation.
It was very difficult. I was very unwell for days. In fact, I was unwell for months. I had depression during the pregnancy. I had postpartum depression as well. Lázaro was one of 70,000 asylum seekers the Trump administration required to wait in Mexico for the U.S. asylum hearings. He was stranded in Ciudad Juárez for more than a year and missed the birth of his daughter, Ashley. I didn't sleep on Election Day. The couple placed their hopes on Joe Biden, who campaigned on restoring U.S. asylum laws.
This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
On his first day in office, President Biden suspended President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. In February, his administration started allowing some of those in Mexico to enter the U.S. at 6 ports of entry if they have pending cases. CBS News was granted exclusive access to one border facility in Brownsville processing these asylum seekers.
These groups of asylum seekers were sent back to Mexico during the Trump administration. The Biden administration is now allowing them to stay in the U.S. to continue their immigration proceedings. They will now be processed. Border officials will take down their information and then release them into the U.S., and they will be allowed to go wherever their family or friends are to continue their immigration proceedings. I imagine you're happy that the Biden administration is now letting some asylum seekers into the U.S. Imagino que estás feliz ahorita que la nueva administración está dejando a algunos de ustedes entrar al país. They're very happy and very thankful for the new administration for letting them in. ¿Qué piensas hacer ahora? What do you hope to do now here in the U.S.? She wants to push ahead and to push ahead for her daughter.
About 10,000 asylum seekers have now been admitted under this process, including Lázaro.
When you were finally allowed to enter the U.S. and reunite with Diana and Ashley, how did you feel?
Indescriptible.
It's indescribable. It was a very strong feeling. I spent 2 days with headaches. I would look at him every day and tell him that I couldn't believe that he was here. It was an indescribable feeling. When I saw the baby and held her, I still can't believe it. The Biden administration has touted this program as a model for future asylum processing. For Lázaro, Diana, and their daughter, it's more than just a policy change.
Esperamos en este país echar para adelante y trabajar, criar a la bebé.
We hope to push forward in this country, to work and raise the baby. May she grow up loving her country, loving her homeland. She's one more American now.
You can start a new life here.
Sí, cómo no.
Yes, of course. God willing.
And Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins me now. Camilo, now that they are together in the U.S., what's next in the asylum process?
Hi, Elaine. As you mentioned, Diana and Lázaro have finally reunited after a long and difficult separation, and Lázaro was finally able to meet his daughter, Ashley, who was born last July here on U.S. soil. However, the couple's legal battle to stay in the U.S. is far from over. Like the other 10,000 asylum seekers who were allowed to enter the U.S. under this new Biden administration process, Lázaro still has to attend court hearings and has to prove to a judge that he deserves asylum, U.S. protection from deportation. They can also pursue other avenues to gain permanent status, but right now they only have this temporary interim status, and they cannot adjust to a permanent status unless they win their cases. And this is a similar scenario for the other asylum seekers that have been benefiting from this program.
Well, as you've reported, the couple's case is an exception, as most asylum seekers are being turned away right now. Is U.S. policy set to change anytime soon?
That's a critical question, Elaine, because as you mentioned, only 10,000 asylum seekers have benefited from this program, and these were migrants who were sent back to Mexico during the Trump administration. Now the Biden administration is slowly allowing them to continue their immigration proceedings here in the U.S. However, the Biden administration has continued to rely on a public health authority known as Title 42 to continue expelling most asylum seekers and migrants back to Mexico or to their home countries. They are applying this rule to most adult migrant men and women, as well as to some families, and they're sending them back without any due process or without a chance to seek asylum. The argument behind this policy, Elaine, as we have discussed, is that the administration feels that it cannot allow all of these migrants to come in at the same time because the coronavirus may spread inside migrant holding facilities. It is the same justification used by the Trump administration. So it is important to note that while this program has benefited 10,000 asylum seekers just like Lázaro, most people are still being turned back without a chance to seek asylum.
Well, given the rise in COVID vaccinations in the U.S., how likely is it that Title 42 could be lifted in the near future?
So we have asked the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas specifically just this question: when will Title 42 be lifted, given the rise in vaccination here in the U.S. and worldwide, and the decrease in COVID-19 cases and deaths here in the U.S.? The department has not made any commitments to end this policy, and they've said that the policy will continue in the near future and for the foreseeable future as well. And they have reiterated this warning to would-be migrants that right now the border is closed and that they should not undertake the dangerous journey to the U.S.-Mexico border. So the simple answer, Elaine, to your question is that we don't know when Title 42 will be lifted.
Finally, Camilo, you recently reported that the number of unaccompanied minors in U.S. custody has dropped by 88% since March. What contributed to that decrease?
Sure. So for context, Elaine, back in late March, there was about 5,800 unaccompanied migrant children in Border Patrol facilities. These are facilities that are not designed to hold migrants, let alone children, past 72 hours. And many children at that time were spending 6, 9, 20 days in Border Patrol custody because the Department of Health and Human Services did not have adequate and enough bed space for them. However, a lot has changed since then. The Department of Health and Human Services has opened more than a dozen emergency facilities in convention centers, work camps, and military bases to house these unaccompanied children, and that has allowed Border Patrol to more quickly expedite the processing of these unaccompanied children. Now, as we speak, Elaine, there are less than 600 unaccompanied children in Border Patrol custody across the entire border. So that is a dramatic drop. And we toured a facility in Donna, Texas last week, Elaine, and the population there has plummeted from about 3,000 unaccompanied children to about 330. So it's been a dramatic decrease across the board.
All right, Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Camilo, covering all angles of this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elaine.